while I get a good deep watering going on, I will start on some of these trivial garden tasks for the week and try to make this week a little easier for me, as well as talk about where we are. So tomorrow is the beginning of July, and since I think I last recorded a progress update of the produce garden, there have been quite a few changes, a few failures, and a little bit of progress. The first official weekend of summer that we had, we ended up having 45-degree weather, and it was just dreary and wet. And of course, right before all that, I had planted out my cantaloupe from the greenhouse, and it suffered. So I think next year I'll end up having to hold out on that. But the ones that I put in a pot, I put back in the greenhouse hoping that they might recover. I'm not sure that they will, but there are 3 that are over in the cucumber trellis as well. Those are definitely not going to recover, but I'm giving them a shot. So of course, with my luck. Another failure that we've had is the potatoes. Something within a matter of days went through the potatoes and ate all the tubers and chewed through all of my stems, at least the ones that are raised beds. The 2 sets of potatoes, which they may end up being our next victims, they're doing okay. So we'll see how far I can get with these guys. But I think that just goes to show that next year I'm just gonna leave them in the pots. I think for this area that's probably the safest. Right now I'm doing a deep water and trimming the tomatoes, at least the base leaves, because we've had a ton of rain all of a sudden, and there's a lot of issues that can develop with that when they're all wet, and the lower leaves tend to get stuff splashed back from the ground. And I don't usually do a mulch for the tomatoes. I actually leave the basils and whatever underneath them to grow, which is fine. But I'm also creating airflow so that we don't have anything else in it. And then I've got to get these guys staked up as well. Right now I'm just trying to get all those things trimmed off so that they can focus their energy on making tomatoes. I guess we'll have to wait till we walk around and take a look at things to actually see what's going on. So, one of the hardest things about growing up here is it's only 5:30. And what am I lacking right now in the time of the year that we have 9 p.m. sunsets? I don't have sun on my plants. Whereas my neighbors down the mountain, they're already harvesting a bunch of stuff right now. And it's kind of disheartening. It really is. But I just have to keep reminding myself that I'm working with the environment that I have, and it's not my fault that it's set up this way. But I also don't want to get rid of all the trees. The other thing is, I need to use this time as a classroom to kind of perfect what I like for example with the potatoes. I'm not going to grow them in raised beds here in this area again. I think I will stick to them being in pots, the big pots. Well, I need to use this area to figure out what works best for the way I grow things, and to learn more before I have the gumption, I should call it, to try to expand what I want to do. I should listen to my grandparents, like they say, be patient. Gardening shows you patience, blah, 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 blah. Heard it all my life. But it's true. They were right. They came from the Depression era, so they would know, right? Anyway. That's one of the hardest things. Because this area doesn't actually see light in the morning until about 10:30, 11. Like, my greenhouse doesn't even get a lick of sunlight until about then, which has always made it really hard to grow things in there all year long. Which is also part of the reason why I kind of don't have a lot of hope for the okra that's in there. But I want to give it a chance. Ooh, this one I might have to throw away because it's already peeling off. Ooh. I don't want to have to put more rust in the garden. Uh-oh. No, I'm actually reconsidering those. Oh boy. But anyway, I'm just putting some stakes in real quick for the tomatoes so that they have some more support and can support the airflow. I do need to move the sun gold tomatoes because they're not liking where they're at. That's okay. And I don't want to have a lot of fruit drop. I just saw one go. I think that's because of the watering. I think I need to do more watering on these tomatoes tonight before I go to bed. I have done a lot of fertilizing on this bed, so I know it's not that. I know you don't need it yet, but you're gonna need it. So you're all need support sometimes, huh? Should grab a couple more, and then we'll walk around the garden. Okay, let's start in the farthest corner before I get completely eaten up by the no-see-ums and the skeeters. I've got some water going on this hodgepodge bed real quick. I have a lot of deep watering I need to do, but I do have some other projects that I'm going to be changing here in this corner. This round, I'm actually going to take all those plants out, and I think I'm going to move this round to be up next to the other one. That wheelbarrow piece, I'm actually planning on recycling. Because I have a whole collection of rocks, I think it would be kind of neat to have like a little watering area. There are holes in the bottom of it, which is totally fine and good for drainage. But I think if I do all of my rocks there that I've collected, I even have rocks still in my car from the last 2 funerals I had back in Nebraska. I don't know why. I just, I just collect them. I don't know why. I feel like that would be a good spot for them, so that I also have a stable spot to put my container for my bee water as well. I'm not sure. In my head, it sounds like a good idea, but we'll see how it turns out. Okay, I know I say that my strawberries are basically garden snacks, but I think part of it has to do with they just don't develop very well over here. I haven't been happy with how they've worked in the tower this year and these 2 pots. They're always already starting to make other babies and spread. I think I may end up, I'm still thinking about it honestly because it's going to take a lot of work. I may end up ripping them all out and putting them in the driveway garden to let them spread as a ground cover there because it's really hard to keep up on the weeds in that driveway bed, and it gets like a weird mix of sun throughout the seasons, but I think it'd be enough for the strawberries, but I'm not sure. The hodgepodge bed is still doing pretty good. I'm surprised that the leeks are still doing okay here on the edge. They're really small, but we'll see how far they get. The beans are doing pretty good on the side. I think I have a couple of beads that are looking to bolt right there on the left-hand side. I might have to check those. The hummingbirds are flitzing around here. But some of these onions are doing okay here. And there's a little leak there. This squash is starting to recover from the transplant, so I'm happy with that. And I also realized that I don't remember doing it, planted some carrot seeds. I think because I had that one random carrot seed there, I thought it might have been a good idea. Not sure. Some kohlrabis are just about ready for me to pull. The wall of peas took off, and with that wind and rain that we had, it kind of smushed the tops over there on that side, which is totally fine. They're still flowering at the top, and it's almost time to rip them out, unfortunately. Oh, hello, Bumble. Okay. I've harvested quite a few peas. I don't even know how I would actually preserve them besides blanching them and throwing them in the freezer for stir fries over the winter, but usually we just snack on these. It's kind of a little bit of a debate. Is it worth planting another round for fall planting since it's midsummer now? Would they actually grow better than they did this spring? That's a thought I gotta consider. On this side of the trellis, they actually didn't do too bad growing wise. Still got quite a few on there I gotta get. Alright, lesson learned on the cantaloupe. Just because I had 1 day of sun doesn't mean that it's a good time to plant them outside. Still should have waited at least a few more days after the summer solstice, but oops, lesson learned, I guess. But the cucumbers, I thought they would have been growing up the trellis by now. Especially this one that volunteered versus the one next to it that I bought. It's kind of going. I don't know. The carrots that I threw in here are doing okay. I really feel like I should have done beets. Some of the onions ended up dying. That's okay. That's only just because I didn't have any other room for where I wanted them. And those lettuces are catching up. But I'll show you the difference in the ones that I have over in the other beds that have more sun during the day and they're with their peppers. Still have the color difference with these cranberry beans. I still have no idea why. But then if you go a little farther, you can see that the color is kind of changing down here too. I don't know. I do wonder if it was some kind of nutrient difference in the soil from one place versus the other. I don't know. I didn't do anything different, not that I remember, but maybe we did unintentionally last fall when we amended it. I don't know. I had to pause for a minute. My neighbor likes to shoot at crows, whereas I like to try to attract them because they tend to protect your chickens, and they're smart. So that's why the neighbor's dog's going off. But anyway, the pepper bed is doing okay-ish. I still have that one good sized pepper of the round of Hungaries. I do need to come through and trim the bottom leaves, but even the carrots are taking off. Can't catch a break. The military base is on the other side of the county, and I know that they're running some kind of drills this weekend, for the next week, because it's almost 4th of July. They do every year. Anyway, look at how huge those lettuce heads are. I definitely need to harvest those, but not until like in the early morning or maybe even late in the evening when they're cooler, so they're a little sweeter. But the rest of this bed's doing okay. I don't like how skinny my pepper plants are. I don't believe in topping them either. I've never had good luck with that. Just because I really truly think that because of my lack of sun in comparison to other people around the same area during the summer, it does make a lot of difference. I do have some more onions I just threw in there. The carrots on the end are doing pretty good. The carrots are doing pretty good. Still got a few more weeks before we can pull some. Probably should thin some out, but honestly, I like leaving the fluff for the ladybugs. They enjoy it. These are the raised beds where the potatoes were. I think I'm gonna put some other squash varieties in here and see how they do. I have a lot of old seeds that I need to at least try. Right now they're soaking in some water to help with the germination. But in the next day or so, I will plant some mounds of squashes in here. I think probably more like the pumpkins for the fall harvest. Not 100% sure yet, but I don't want to leave bare spaces. Then the onions and leek. There's a few leeks here on the end too. Every time I look at it, I feel like it's recovering. And then I look and I'm like, is that just grass growing through? Not sure. I did end up planting that one okra from the corn, from the first round of corn out here to see how well it does compared to the ones in the greenhouse. It's still pretty far behind, but it's surviving, so give it a chance. But then I look through these onions. Again, I think they were long days. And they're starting to get long and leggy. That's okay. I think we'll end up having a few good bulbs by the fall. Not sure. I hope though. Tomato bed that I just came through and trimmed for airflow. I do have quite a few basil volunteers coming in on the bottom there too. So I'll have to be careful when I come through and do some weeding so I don't ruin those. An area I've got to take care of sometime this week when I do the weeding. My pineapple, mint, and chives right there in those pods are being taken over by the weeds. I'm going to have to move those and get the weed whacker out. And the strawberry tower is still doing okay. I think maybe it's just because I let the weeds get to it. I'm not happy with it. I know the strawberries loved it and they were happy in it, but I'm not sure. I may end up just starting over next year with the strawberries. Not 100%. Some of them are still doing pretty good, but I feel like they would benefit more from like a field where I can mulch them with straw in the rows than in the towers. And this is where the corn ended up going, and it's taken off. It's doing pretty well here. I do need to put some more fertilizer on it. This is where that spring garlic was. And then on the corners I have the black futsu squash. They're kind of recovering. I'm just going to let them do what they're going to do. Here's the experiment. I also have some weird volunteers in here. I'm pretty sure that's cilantro. I don't even know how you got in here, but it's there. The hardneck garlic that I had planted from mine last year is still doing okay. It's starting to dry out. It's not quite ready yet. I don't see any falling over just as of yet. All of the garlic scapes I ended up dehydrating and making into garlic scape salt. So happy with that, but not quite there yet. I'm thinking maybe mid-July they'll be ready for harvest. And then after that, I can put the rest of the corn in here, or I might put some of the squash varieties if I'm able to start some in the greenhouse there, or put some of the okras here. I'm not sure yet. There's a lot of possibilities. To get through this corner before I get eaten up by mosquitoes and no-see-ums, because they're already flying around here like crazy. The blueberries are doing okay. I need to get some soil acidifier in there so that next year they can possibly have a few blueberries. These are actually the pink lemonade blueberries. I think before I do that, I will probably end up moving them. I think I also want to get a few more blueberry bushes. I don't know. Can't make up my mind. Got a lot going on. The strawberries underneath this tree are doing pretty good. I'm happy about that. But the tree lost its fruit, and that's okay. It's just establishing here. I think I may end up in a year or so moving it over to the orchard once I get that area established. Okay, so it's actually the next day. I ended up losing some of the footage from yesterday, but that's okay. I'm not sure what I did. Oh well. Today ended up being a really hot day, which is perfectly fine because I think the garden needed that after that hit of rain last week. Don't see any signs of bolting yet, but I just let it relax through the heat and just enjoy that for a while today. But I did do some direct sowing of the larger varieties of like the Big Macs, Rouge, and Connecticut Field pumpkins, because those ended up being about 6 or 7 years old. I did have them actually in a cup of water overnight to kind of start that germination process. So I'm hoping that will help. In the greenhouse though, I have two of the smaller varieties that usually have longer vines for me, the Little Gem and the Jack B. Littles. Those only end up being about 4 to 5 years old, so I'm hoping we'll get some good germination in those, but I plan on putting those on the arch in the garden where the peas and the cucumbers are. Once the peas are done, we'll see. I'm not sure. That is something I regret not thinking about earlier, but it didn't come to mind until the potatoes started to be a fail for me. I wish I would have started those squashes a few weeks ago, so that they would be ready to go out here a lot sooner, especially during the peak of the heat for the summer. And also because I didn't realize that there really wasn't going to be a resource still around my area where people are going to have starts of squashes they're trying to get rid of. And with me having some empty spaces, I should have thought of that, but oh well, maybe next year I'll get on top of that. Other than that, I do have some stuff in the greenhouse I wanted to show you real quick. Right behind me, this is all the red star okra. And then with that and the green, I'm not sure which variety or if I'll do a mix of both. I will mix between here in the greenhouse and out into the garden for some other spaces. Kind of want to see how they do, but I have a feeling the ones in the greenhouse are going to do the best because it has more of the heat, the southern temperature heat, because it does hold heat very well at the peak of the day, just not well enough into the night. But with it being summer, I'm hoping that we'll still at least have 50 degrees at night for them. So those are the red ones. And over here are the rest of the green okras and the ones that I had already planted in the big pot. What happened here? I don't even know what happened to you, buddy. Oh, well, I will stick you in somewhere. We'll find a place for you soon. But then these ones are definitely going to stay in the greenhouse. The ones in the big pot, the ones on the shelf, I'm going to probably end up putting out into the garden. Not sure. We'll make that decision later. On the left are the Jack B. Little squashes, and on the right are the Little Gems. Gonna see if those actually germinate. I'm sure they will, being in the greenhouse and not worried about them being eaten by mice or birds. So I'm kind of excited to see if, since they're smaller, if we'll have some good vines on the trellis and get some cute little pumpkins this year. And then this corn actually needs to be planted out ASAP. This is actually a lot taller than it was for the first batch when I was planting out the first batch. So unfortunately, I need to get those out soon. I just don't have the space yet, and that other part of the garlic is not ready to be harvested yet. So this ended up being probably going to be on the other side of the garden. This last part, which I'm going to say is a fail, unfortunately, because I jumped the gun, is the rest of these cantaloupe. These are the cantaloupe that were in the pot that I was hoping I could have recover. They are definitely not going to recover. That's okay. I think next year, if I do cantaloupe, I will keep them in the greenhouse past the summer solstice and a few weeks into July, just to be safe. I think they would have done perfectly fine, but these used to be healthy plants here in the greenhouse, and I jumped the gun on that, of course. But oh well, lessons learned for next year. This is the last part of the garden walkthrough, is this mess of a corner here that I lost the footage of yesterday. The poppies, sorry, take two. The road association here actually has signs out that are ignored every year during the summer. This is not a public access road, and the people that live on this mountain actually pay for the gravel to be repaired on this road because it's our only access road to get off the mountain back to town. But every year you have people who disrespect that and speed down that road, and a lot of these corners are pretty blind, so we do have injuries every year, but that doesn't matter. They unfortunately still fly around on their ATVs and dirt bikes. Don't get me wrong, I do encourage people to have fun on that and be safe, but when you're paying the $800 bill every 3 months for gravel, it does get kind of cumbersome and annoying, especially when you're one of the younger people in the road association and you instantly get blamed for it, even though, yes, we do have quads and ATVs and dirt bikes and other toys, but we don't use them on this road for that reason. But anyway, off that soapbox, poppies are still not drying out their seed pods. Not quite. I'm hoping I can catch some of those larger ones for next year. I'm really excited for that. Other than that, that's the rest of the vegetable garden bed area. Right now, I've actually got to go get ready to leave for Seattle. Hey, so it's actually like a few days later from the last part of this clip, which is totally fine. Kind of got swept up in a lot of things. We just got done with the 4th of July little madness. There's still fireworks going off outside in the neighborhood. Totally fine. It's like 1:30 in the morning on the 5th. Right now I'm making a snack. Ugh, I guess I'm tired. That's where I'm at today. I'm making myself a snack while I get the water boiling to get my hummingbird feeder nectar done for the night, so that tomorrow morning I can set it out. This is actually my peach scrap jelly from the peaches that I had in the freezer from last year when I made my peach cobblers. Pretty good. I was just thinking that I should make more, but I realized I'm out of peaches, so I might go get some of those at Costco since they're really good right now. I honestly love the little bit of heat that I put in it with a little bit of cinnamon and the tiniest dash of clove. It's really, really good because those are all good for spices, like warm spices when you make peach cobbler. And it's kind of the flavor I was going for with that, so I'm really happy about that. Okay, so we had to split up our 4th of July between both properties because we have a lot of animals that are new to us, and I wasn't sure, I really wasn't confident actually, that they were going to do very well. There was a lot of nervousness, there's a lot of running, and you know, just kind of uncomfortable situation awareness, especially with the horses. But they actually did okay, so that's good. Better than I was expecting. And the goats from last year that I got, I don't know why I was worried with them. They're fine. But anyway, so I went to SeaTac right after the last part of this video, and I was there until about 2:30 in the morning. Got home pretty late the next day.
So kind of got swept up and like it kind of screwed up my sleep schedule for the rest of the week, which is it's fine. I don't mind. But then kind of got swept up into the holiday commotion for today and just kind of forgot to record the rest of what I was going to say, and that's okay. Like I was planning on sitting in the cell phone parking lot and like just talking about what my plans are and my ideas, but I kind of got overstimulated with how busy it was at SeaTac, and I don't know why I'm so shocked. It's Seattle, like I should know better, and especially right before the holiday. Of course it's going to be packed. I don't know what I was thinking, but that's okay. But with the garden, the vegetable garden especially, I have to remind myself that this specific property is not going to support everything that I want to do. Because I have a long list of things I want to do, goals I want to achieve, things I want to try, try something new as much as I can. But I know that this specific place is not going to support that, and I have to keep reminding myself that. But I also have to keep myself in check with, this is a classroom, do the best that I can with what I have. If I can find a way to make it work, there's no harm in trying. That's all right. There goes some more fireworks. So right now, this place has the goats and chickens and the gardens, like the produce garden. In the future, if I ever am able to have my own property and things, I would love to have a full acre produce garden. I want to have my own farm stand on my property that kind of supports the community all year long. I want to have a whole bunch of chickens, more than what I have, like a full aviary and a place that they can go freely around and be safe. I love having the goats. They're great. I would like to have all of my animals, honestly, on one property. That'd be great. That's a good goal to have in the near future, hopefully. Oh, my water's boiling. Okay, so I'm trying to keep myself in reality here, because I know that a lot of the things that I want to do in the future are gonna just end up adding to my chore list and making a lot more work for me to do in the future. But that's okay. If I can find a way to make it work here while I'm in this house, I will try, but I'm not sure that I will for most things, but that's okay. This should be good to go until tomorrow, so I'll leave it here on the counter. I don't have to deal with ants. I don't have to worry about them, so that sugar water can stay on the counter. Anywhooty, so trying to keep myself in the real world and not to overdo it for myself, but I always manage to find ways to overdo it, so just ask anyone in my family. Anyway, what do I need to do in the next few weeks for the vegetable garden, at least? The flower gardens are pretty planted out. Sorry. The flower gardens are pretty planted out. I'm just still kind of really embarrassed of them because of their construction. They need work, and I just don't have the mindset to do that right now during the summer, so that's okay. Working with what I got until I decide to get the gumption to do it. I need to get the weeds cleared out with the weed whacker in the vegetable garden. I need to get the rest of that corn planted out and harvest the garlic. I think the garlic should be ready in a couple of days. Other than that, what else was there? Oh, I've got some of the squash starts in the greenhouse have already started coming up, which is kind of surprising. And I've got enough space for those. I want to see if I can try to find more areas in the garden to have another rotation of beets growing. And I'm still deciding on whether I want to do another round of peas for the fall. The peas that are left on the trellis right now, I'm going to leave them. There's quite a few pods. I just didn't get to them in time. And then we had a spike of heat and they're starting to expand and dry out and go to seed, which is fine. I think I want to try to just let that happen and see if I can collect those for next year. I have like 3 packs of pea seeds. I don't need more pea seeds, but I think it would be good to at least have something that's kind of grown and adapted to my area, so maybe that would help. I'm not sure. I might plant more peas for the fall. I'm not sure. I have to take a look and see what other bare spots are going to be coming up so that I can have some more rotations in those areas. I don't like having a lot of bare spots. If there's something I can use it for, I should figure that out. Other than that, I can't think of the top of my head of everything else that I wanted to do. I had made a list while I was sitting in the cell phone parking lot at SeaTac the other night. I don't know what I did with it. I just realized that it's 2:30 in the morning. No wonder I'm tired and I don't have full brain function right now because I can't think of my entire list that I had. I knew that was a long list. I always have a long list of things to do. I literally have a little note on my phone called the never-ending to-do list. So I can't fully function right now. But anyway, that was it for the produce garden. The flower gardens, I'm still kind of embarrassed about how they're constructed. But they are fully planted out. There are a few pieces that I hope will turn out lovely into the fall. That was my only goal this year, was to, for the flower gardens, work with what I have and have lots of color. Okay, if I have the motivation and the gumption for it this fall, I will try to reconstruct some pieces. But other than that, working with what I got, it's time for me to go to bed. At least take a nap. I do have to get up early in the morning and try to get some of the things done. It's going to be a long weekend, but that's okay. Supposedly there is rain in the next few days. I think it starts on Tuesday according to the weather app. I'm not sure, but we definitely need it. I'll see how much I can get done in the next couple of weeks before the next update so I can at least see if there's any kind of good changes or progress. Other than that, I'm really sad the potatoes kind of failed. That's okay, live and learn. The ones in the pots I think will do okay-ish. We shall see, I guess. I don't know. Other than that, that is the garden tour. I'm gonna go take a nap. I hope y'all had a safe holiday. I hope nobody got hurt. I hope no serious injuries occurred. I hope there was no damages unless you were having fun with it. So be safe. Okay, love you, bye.